And welcome inside the Edward Jones chatting cage. Matt Yaloff here. A unique opportunity for you, the viewer, to get involved. You can hit us on Twitter, and we may even put your face on TV with the video call, and that would be a whole lot of fun. Get involved. Let's get going. Our guest today, we're not going to waste any time here. Steve Sparks is our guest today, a major leaguer from 1995 to 2004, and now going into season number 7 as a radio broadcaster for Houston. Steve, welcome to the Edward Jones chatting cage. How are you?
I'm doing great, Matt. Thanks for having me. I've been very excited about this, get a chance to interact with maybe some Astros fans, maybe not so much Astro fans. Maybe the competition wants to get a little bit of insight about what goes on with this Astros organization.
Yeah, actually, I do. I need to know, before we really get rolling, how are things looking right now? What do you got for us?
You know what? The only concern right now is that Altuve had a little soreness in his left side, but everybody feels like he's going to get back to baseball activities tomorrow, may get into the game Friday or Saturday, so it doesn't look to be anything serious. We always know, though, with those little side injuries, that oblique situation, those are tricky, so we're just keeping our fingers crossed right now with Altuve.
Okay, well, that's a good guy to keep your fingers crossed for, a former MVP. Now, if anybody out there knows anything about the guy I'm talking to, you know about the knuckleball. He was a knuckleballer during a time, Steve, when there were multiple guys doing it. But I want to know about why Milwaukee had you learn it. What happened there?
You know what? I was with their organization for 11 years total, but 8 of those were in the minor leagues. And about halfway through my minor league career with Milwaukee, I was topping out at the AA level. They felt like I was maybe a candidate to throw that pitch. I'd never thrown one before, but they gave me a 3-year plan. And they said, we're going to start over in A ball, and we want you to throw it 30% the first year, 50% the second year, 70% the third year. And at that time, we'll just see where we're at. So I bought myself 3 more years of at least a little bit of time to see if I could come up with something. Wow, and you did it very well. And then you spent 9 in MLB. You are resilient, my friend. Excellent job. Hey, a video call right now, Daniel. Daniel, step on in and throw your question out there. What do you got?
Hello, Mr. Sparks. My name's Daniel from South Jersey. My question for you today is, with that knuckleball, sticking on this theme, what was the best advantage that knuckleball gave to you as a pitcher?
You know, that's a great question, Daniel. And I think the biggest advantage is that me not having as much talent as maybe somebody like Verlander, who's pitching today here in West Palm Beach, that throws 95 miles per hour. I couldn't do that. I couldn't blow people away. But what I could do is I could take the spin off of the baseball. And a lot of major league hitters, they rely on their eyesight. And with the spin, they can see if it's a slider or a curveball and which way it's going to break, which direction it's going to go. But with the knuckleball, it's all reliant with the gravity and the wind resistance against those seams, so it makes the ball dance all over the place.
That's a great answer. And you pitched, we should remind people, you pitched in the height of the power age, when the hitters seem to have every advantage.
Age. I like the way you said, Matt.
Well, I mean, look.
I like the way you said that, Matt, the power age.
Yeah, I thought about it for a long time.
A lot of home runs.
Yeah, I came up with that.
A lot of home runs.
A lot of home runs. All right, a tweet right now from Blake Bernard. And the question is, do you think that perfecting the knuckleball requires a certain type of temperament? What do you think?
Well, that's the perfect answer. Whenever I've spoken to probably 15 knuckleball pitchers who have pitched in the major leagues, from the Nico brothers, Charlie Huff, Tom Candiotti, Wakefield, all the way through, and everybody pretty much has the same temperament. I think if you're the closer type of mentality, kind of huffing and puffing going out there, you're not able to throw that field pitch right out of the gate. You're going to overthrow that pitch, and it's going to be hard to control. So I think you're exactly right. When you hit on the temperament, I think that's where things start if you become a knuckleball pitcher.
Yeah, you know, you think of knuckleball guys, and in my mind, I think, well, they got to be pretty laid back. They can't be type A guys. That's how I look at it. Am I right or am I wrong?
That's exactly right, Matt. I mean, I think that's where you start. So the Astros in the last few years have had some knuckleballers come through their minor league system, and they've had me take a look at them down in the bullpens on the minor league side, and they just want to see what's your assessment and maybe you can help them along a little bit. But you notice things right away if a guy's temperament's just not such to be conducive to be able to throw that pitch at a really high level. Once you get to the major leagues, there's more pressure. There's going to be tight situations. Can you throw that pitch on a 3-1 count with the bases loaded? And you got to be able to relax to do that.
Yeah, I would think so. All right, a video call right now. Selena, you are up. What do you got?
Hi, Steve. I have a question for you on the Astros. Who do you think their biggest competition in the AL West is?
The main competition, I think, for the Astros this year, Serena, I think is going to be the Oakland A's again. And I certainly don't want to discount anybody else, but what Bob Melvin did with that team last year, I don't think was a fluke by any means. Their offense is real. They put up really tough at-bats. I think Jed Lowry rubbed off on a lot of the young players. And when I think of Matt Chapman and Matt Olson and the core guys that are young and talented coming up through that organization, they're going to be able to carry that forward. And then with Jesus Luzardo coming into their rotation, if not at the beginning of the year, sometime during the course of the season, you're going to start to see a lot of talent filtering up with the Oakland A's. They're very resilient. They find ways to do things, and I think they have one of the best managers in baseball.
You know, that's a good question because that is, there are question marks with every team, including Houston, with the pitching. But
that's right.
We'll get into that another time. But right now, I want to know about a tweet that you sent out regarding Tom Seaver. Now, me and you are of a similar age, so we remember him pitching. He was your idol. And recently we learned that he is done with public life. He's ill. We wish him well. Tell me about idolizing Tom Terrific.
Well, Matt, it goes back to when I was 5 years old, and that was when the Mets had their miracle season. And my father taught me when I was 5 years old in 1969 how to read the box scores and check the standings and things like that. And their rise in the second half of the season caught my attention, and in particular Tom Seaver. It was a Cy Young award season for Seaver. He won 3 of them throughout his career, but he became my idol at a very young age. I wasn't a pitcher until later on in college, but I mean, he was somebody I looked up to because it wasn't only his greatness on the mound. I just loved the way he carried it himself. He wasn't afraid to show that he was the leader in the clubhouse, but also kind of the voice of the club too.
Yeah, he was. I grew up in New York when he was there, and when he pitched, it was an event. Even as a little kid, I remember it was a big deal when he pitched. Whenever that was, you watched.
You paid attention, yeah. And I would listen to the radio when I knew he was playing the St. Louis Cardinals or somebody I could catch on the radio, just to listen to the mitt pop and hear him grunt every once in a while when he pitched. Kind of a funny story. My wife, we were just dating in the late 80s, and she knew I was a big Tom Seaver fan, and he was going to be at Rice University doing a pitching clinic. And she went out there. She's not a baseball fan by any means, but went out there and knew how much it would mean to me to get me his autograph. And married her about a year later, so 30 years later, I still have that Tom Seaver autograph.
That's great. Hold on to that for sure. We wish him very well. All right, moving along here. A Twitter question. And the question is, let me see if I can find it here. The question is, okay, so let's see. The most memorable moment on the mound in the major leagues for you was what?
For myself?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
It's pretty easy, Matt. It was in 2003. I was playing with the Oakland A's. We were in the playoffs against the Boston Red Sox. Game 4, I believe. I was going out to the bullpen, and I was walking around the infield across into right field toward the bullpen. And the group Boston was playing on the concourse. And I love Boston. And, of course, they were playing on the concourse, a little mini concert. And then just as I reached the bullpen gate, I was a relief pitcher. They broke in, kind of a riff into the national anthem. And then the flag unfolded off of the green monster, and I just got goosebumps. And they lasted for about 5 minutes, all the way through the anthem and a little bit longer. And then Tim Hudson started the ball game for the A's, and he goes out in the second inning. It's usually a day where every reliever is usually kind of kicking back for a long time because Hudson went so deep in most of his games. He injured himself, his side, during his warm-up pitches in between the first and the second inning, and they called on me. So it was my only experience to get a chance to pitch in the playoffs. Got to do it at Fenway Park. Did decent. Was in line for a win. We didn't end up winning that game. but it was a thrill of a lifetime.
Wow. And our one of our producers, Marty, wants to know if that gave you more than a feeling. He tied in the
Good job, Marty.
Yeah, not bad, right?
You know, yeah, I think Marty's smoking right now.
He should be out here. I should be in there. All right. So let's see. I want to ask you this. When you pitched in the postseason, were you able to appreciate it on the mound while you were doing? I know all the other things going on around you, but in the moment, could you take it all in?
I did. You know what? After the first inning, I came in. I had to warm up on the field. It wasn't a situation where I got to warm up in the bullpen, so I went out on the mound in the middle of the ballpark at Fenway, loosened up, got there then, but my mind was spinning. I got through that inning and got a chance to sit in the dugout in between innings. I was going to pitch 3 more innings, and I really got to reflect on how cool this was. 2003, I was 39 years old at that point, so certainly very appreciative of not only all my time as a major leaguer, but especially that moment.
That's great. That's excellent. Connor, you are on right now via video call. What's on your mind?
Hi, Steve. Yeah, I was wondering, would you know your knuckleball was working on a certain day based on your bullpen session before?
Yeah, you know what? Usually within the second or third pitch, I knew if I had a pretty good knuckleball. Now, there's times, and you hear this from pitchers all the time, that they'll have terrible stuff in the bullpen, and they go out to the mound and end up finding it when they're warming up on the game mound, and things go swimmingly. But for me, at least I knew when I was able to take the spin off the ball with regularity. And usually, and this sounds funny, it comes down to the length of my fingernails. You know, if I cut them just right, usually it would just come out there really smooth and crisp, and I could take the spin off. And that was the key to having at least a good knuckleball. But I've won, many games without a good knuckleball just by changing speeds.
Yeah, the manicure, very important. In fact, I looked up Wilbur Wood. Wilbur Wood, you know him. I know you do.
Sure.
1972. Yeah. I was 376 innings as a knuckleball.
Yeah,
I just can't. He must have had great fingernails. All right.
He had great fingernails.
Yeah, I'm sure he did. Let me show you a picture here. And for the kids at home, the picture is of a phone book. And if you don't know what that is, well, before we had phones, the little iPhones or whatever they are, we had a phone book. And you'd have to go to it to look up a phone number or an address of a business or a friend. And they were heavy. They were big. Hundreds of pages and really thick. So that's my setup to you. Tell me about your relationship with a phone book.
Well, my relationship ended as soon as people quit having landlines, right? So you don't look up numbers anymore.
No.
But unfortunately, 25 years ago, my first year as a major leaguer, and it was 25 years ago, almost to the date, that I was with the Milwaukee Brewers. They had a motivational group come into camp, and they did some feats. And they bent the bars with their teeth, they blew up hot water bottles, and they tore phone books. And it was crazy. And the next day, some of us saw some phone books, and we decided we wanted to see how those guys tore the phone books. If there was a trick to it, at least, if you could at least get things going if you got it started. And we were having a tough time with it, so I started to cheat and ripped a few pages at a time. Finally got it into a situation where I could get up and ham it up a little bit in front of my teammates, and then they started chanting my name. All of a sudden, I dislocated my shoulder trying to tear a phone book. So here's the, fast forward 5, 10, 15, 25 years. I'm still getting questions about it. And every time there's a stupid injury in any sport, they redo a list. And I'm either 4th to 7th. I'm somewhere vacillating between 4th and 7th stupidest sports injuries of all time.
What's more stupid? No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I think somebody broke a tooth on a donut and had to microwave donut. Who is that? I don't even remember. Was it? I
don't remember that. I know.
Kevin Mitchell,
I got one
maybe?
for you, Matt.
What do you got?
Yeah, that sounds right. Your guy, John Smoltz, I know something he did. He went on the DL for burning his chest while he's trying to iron his shirt.
Are you kidding
You ever
me?
heard that one?
No, but
No, ask him about that.
I'm being told.
He's more stupid than me.
You tell him. I'm not going to tell. He's like 6'4",
Yeah.
230.
Yeah, I'm not telling him. I'm not telling
The
him.
voice in my ear tells me that he denies that.
Does he really?
Well, yeah. I
So
mean,
somebody made it up?
I don't know.
Then
I'm not
I
gonna,
deny the phone book.
I'm not going to.
I
I'm not
deny
even
the
going
phone
there.
book. It's over.
It's over. So the phone book. All right, move on. Lightning round. You ready? Here we go.
Yeah, I am.
All right, the pitcher you would most like to see experiment with a knuckleball.
Oh, wow. So it's a soft tosser. Jason Vargas. We just saw him a couple of days ago. He still throws 85 miles per hour, but I'd like to see a lefty knuckleballer again like Wilbur Wood.
Yeah, that would be fun. You go tell Verlander I vote for him on that. All right, how about this one? Your favorite park to pitch in?
Seattle, Safeco Field. It was damp. It was humid. So there was a lot of resistance for the knuckleball, but it wasn't too hot where I sweat too much.
Oh, that must have been right at the beginning, right? Right when it opened, I would think. Right? Or
Yeah,
am I off?
2001. I know.
Okay.
2000, I threw my first shutout at Safeco Field. That was because of those conditions.
Excellent. All right, least favorite park?
Probably. Well, I love Fenway Park to be there and not pitch, but pitching the monster was pretty intimidating.
Okay. Favorite movie of all time?
Forrest Gump or The Great Santini. Have you ever heard of The Great Santini with Robert Duvall?
Of course. I mean,
it's kind of a sleeper. It's in the early 80s, but it's a sleeper, and it won some awards, but Duvall was awesome in that movie.
He was, and we have a boss here, last name Santini, and he thinks he is the great Santini. But
he's the great Santini. Nice.
Yeah. I'm not going to get...
My brother and I called my dad Santini.
There you go. The great one. All right,
Yep.
I'm looking down here. Okay, least favorite baseball tradition?
Well, that's a great question. Baseball tradition. Man, you're going to stump me on that one. I'm trying to think of something. I love the national anthems. I loved everything in the minor leagues. I wish they had some of that crazy stuff, more of that crazy stuff in between innings at the major league fields. But after spending 10 years as a minor leaguer, I really miss that stuff. The dizzy bat race and things like that.
Yeah. I like the dirty car in the parking lot competition.
Yeah.
And you win a free
I like it
car
when guys
wash.
get hurt.
All right, guilty pleasure comfort food.
Probably I like to get ice cream with some milk and just stir it up and make my own shakes.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right. That's good. That's a good one. All right. Favorite current player to watch?
Favorite what?
Current player that you like to watch.
Oh. The first thing that came to my mind was Alex Bregman.
Yeah.
I just love the way he adjusts in the box. I love his approach. I love his fearlessness. I think there's just a lot of intangibles that kind of get you excited to watch Bregman on a daily basis.
You know, I love it too. And we don't have to get into it, but I feel a little Pedroia in him, but a little bit more chatty. A little bit more chatty. Okay.
A little more chatty, but it's certainly that chip on his shoulder.
Definitely. I feel that on TV. Most relaxing activity when you're not at the park?
Golf. I love to golf. I love to spend time visiting my kids. My last kid's in college right now. And I think my next favorite activity is going to be when my last one's out of college when I get a pay raise.
You stop writing checks. Exactly.
That's right. I'm done with that.
Favorite teammate of all time?
First person that comes to mind is Jack McDowell. He was my teammate with the Angels. He did one thing that was so cool. He got an extra suite on every road trip of the season, and it was just for guys to go hang out, play cards. He said, order whatever you want, room service, whatever, and he got the bill on every single road trip of the season.
Well, then he would be my favorite. He's my favorite now. I'm going to call him because I'm hungry.
He's a stud.
All right,
he was a stud.
The final question for you. One change that you would make, to the current game.
I would get some kind of Bluetooth system for the pitchers and catchers to be able to communicate so that they could get on the same wavelength and get their signs together a little bit more quicker between pitches.
Excellent. Steve, it has been a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Pleasure's all mine, Matt. Take care, buddy.
All right, have a great year with Houston. And thank you for taking part and watching the Edward Jones Chatting Cage. I'm Matt Yaloff, and I will see you next time.